Going to the movie theater is the best way to experience film. Granted, that's been rather difficult the past 2 years with Corona and streaming services kind of almost killing the movie theaters industry. Yes, watching a film at home is more convenient with the pause button and the lack of a noisy audience. This is why I hate going to see the latest Pixar or Disney films in theaters. Even with the larger screen at home, there's nothing quite like going to a theater with a bunch of strangers and watching the same film. I find watching comedies in the theater with an audience makes the jokes a lot funnier because you're laughing along with everybody. I was born in 1996, and I have had the chance to have some pretty cool experiences in the theater. My earliest memory of going to a movie theater is seeing Monsters, Inc. when I was 5. Some of the most amazing films I've ever seen were Avatar and Gravity. Seriously, watching these films on TV, or even worse on your phone, is like... well, it's like this. That perfectly describes it. But there are some iconic films that I will never get to see in a theater for the first time. Films that I love and have seen a million times. But due to the fact of still being a sperm cell when these movies were new, I'll never get the chance to see these films with an audience for the first time. Now, when I say films I wish I could see in a theater, I don't mean when a movie theater shows older films. I've done this before, and it's really a treat. The first time I ever saw Casablanca was in a movie theater, but unless they meant time travel, I can never go back to 1942 and see it with an audience for the first time. I could never witness people hearing, "Here's looking at you, kid, and all the bars in the world did have to be mine." The point of this video is to discuss the films we wish we could go back in time and see. This is in no particular order, by the way. This is just me discussing some films I wish I could see. Lawrence of Arabia from 1962. This spot could also be Ben-Hur, The Ten Commandments, The Greatest Story Ever Told, or Gone with the Wind. But I decided to go with Lawrence of Arabia for one simple reason. Lawrence of Arabia has some of the best cinematography in a film I've ever seen. It feels like every shot in this movie could be in a museum. Being able to see a transition like this on a big screen, the best quality possible, would be bone-chilling. Jurassic Park, 1993. I have seen Jurassic Park in a theater, and it was a very memorable experience. Back in 2013, during its 20th anniversary, so it was me and my dad and some mother and her kid. During the T-Rex scene, the kid was screaming and freaking out. The kid got so scared, his mother had to take him out of the theater. That was frickin' hilarious. Going back to 1993 to see this movie with a bunch of scared kids would be so funny. In my opinion, this has some of the best CGI in any movie ever. Seriously, it's incredible. But this still looks good, while something from nowadays looks so fake. Seeing this film with the audience would just be incredible to see the reactions to when you first see a Brontosaurus or when the T-Rex breaks out. It would just be so damn cool. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and Fantasia. This is a tie between two Disney classics. Snow White, released in 1937, isn't the first animated film, but it is the first American one released in color with sound. Seeing this groundbreaking achievement in a theater in the 30s would be magical. Plus, you'd get to see a newsreel and maybe an old Disney cartoon. Fantasia on the big screen would be spectacular. This is one of my favorite films of all time. I love the way it combines fantastic Disney animation with awesome classical music. Seeing The Night on Bald Mountain, The Sorcerer's Apprentice, The Rite of Spring, or the Ave Marie would just be jaw-dropping. Also, Disney, if you're watching this, please make a new Fantasia movie. With the way CGI has come, there's so much you could do with it. There's so much amazing classical music that's just begging to be animated. I know Fantasia 2000 is a thing, and that's okay. I don't want to wait another 60 years till 2060 to see a new Fantasia movie. Get on that shit right now. Please do it. Stop making crappy live-action remakes and give us this. Any film that is considered lost. If I had a time machine, I'd go back in time and see films that were lost to time. The Martin Scorsese Film Foundation claims that half of all American films before 1950 and over 90% of silent films are lost. I mean gone. Maybe forever. No known copies are known to still exist. all that stuff just gone. That sucks. The time machine, I could go back in time and see some of these films. Which ones will I pick? I don't know. Any of them. Seeing any of these, knowing in the back of my head that no one in my time will get to see these ever again is just, it's so sad. It's just sad. The Exorcist from 1973. Often considered to be the scariest film of all time, and it's a very well-made film. It's fantastically acted, the makeup's amazing, but in my opinion, it's just not scary. I don't find it scary, I'm sorry. But I do find the spider scene pretty creepy. When this first came out, audiences were not prepared for what they were about to see. And to this day, I don't think audiences have had the same reaction to a movie. Movie theaters would supply barf bags and people would run screaming out of the theaters. That sounds so entertaining to see. Seeing it with a scared shitless audience would make it so much scarier and would be hilarious. I would pay to see that. God, I want to see this so badly in a movie theater. Planet of the Apes, 1968. It's the twist. I want to see this film with an audience who has no frickin' idea what the twist is. This is one of the most parodied and spoiled movie endings of all time. I knew about the ending way before I saw the film. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone who doesn't know it. I think going into this film completely blind with no possible way of knowing the ending would be amazing. It would be like going to see The Empire Strikes Back in 1980. Just no one saw the twist coming, and it's just iconic. King Kong, 1933. The final film is King Kong. The experience of going to an old-school 1930s movie palace and paying 15 cents for a ticket sounds pretty rad. Seeing a newsreel about the Great Depression and seeing an old film serial. Also, King Kong's really good. It's just a spectacle. Everything about it is just classic. The finale, one of the most iconic in film history. The special effects changed everything. This is a movie that put stop motion on the map. And also inspired the great Ray Harryhausen. It would also be mesmerizing to see it with an audience of the time. Nowadays, the dinosaurs in King Kong aren't really scary. They're amazing special effects. But to see it with an audience whose idea of scary was Dracula and Frankenstein, I think that'd be so rad.